Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. P. Shaktivil. Happy to welcome you all for this wonderful online course on Introduction to Fundamental Rights. Today is a third day officially, and today we have the resource person Dr. J. Subramanian, and he is going to talk about a brief introduction about nature of fundamental rights in Indian Constitution. To say a few words about the resource person, and he is one of the senior most faculty member in the Department of Political Science, Dr. J. Subramanian, did a lot of work in Supreme Court and secularism, and how the Supreme Court has paved the way for protecting the very essential fabric of secularism as enriched in the Indian Constitution. So having a vast experience in delivering lectures in various colleges and universities, and he is a resource person to most of the colleges, especially political science colleges in India, especially in south part of India. So hope that the lecture is going to be very useful, and he is going to present his paper with the help of PowerPoint, and as said by the organizer of the program, PowerPoints, everything will be shared to all the participants in the WhatsApp, or the link will be given to you in the YouTube, or by mail you will get the link. You can connect and you can download, you can listen. So totally 40 minutes is the time, and suppose if the lecture is exceeding 30-35 minutes, and we will resume for 1 minute or 2 minutes, again we will request you to rejoin for the lecture continuation, as well as any questions you can ask to the resource person. Is ready to interact with you also. So now it's a time for Dr. J. Subramanian. So most welcome, sir. On behalf of the department, we extend a very warm welcome. Now it's a time for you, sir. Please.
Good morning to one. Happy to be in the part and parcel of online program. Regard to this, I am very much thankful to the head of the department and the organizers of this program to say a few ideas of fundamental rights of Indian Constitution. I think 2 days they have successfully conducted the program. They have enlightened various ideas related to the Indian Constitution and fundamental rights. So fundamental right is one of the basic essential to the human beings. It is a part and parcel of all the human beings who are living in the state. It is the order of the day. That means without fundamental rights, where we cannot live and lead the life. So it has a more important role in the Constitution. Granville Aston used to say that Constitution is a sole authority through that fundamental rights and directive principles are heart of the Constitution. Furthermore, he used to explain that fundamental rights is the conscience of the Constitution. So all the human beings, whoever may be, those who are living in the state as a citizen, he has to enshrined by, or he has to be safeguarded by, recognized by certain constitutional values. So constitutional values are available to the human beings as a fundamental rights. It is called as a basic rights. Without these rights, other rights, legal rights, whether all other sort of rights, whether it's a social, economic, including political also, will not be fulfilled to the human beings. So that's why the fundamental rights play a significant role in the society and the state. As a citizen, citizen means a person one who enjoys the both civil and political rights. We are the people, we are living in the state, we have to enjoy the civil and political rights enshrined by or incorporated by the Constitution. Whoever is not able to enjoy the fundamental rights, they are not considered as a citizen of the state. Anyhow, before going to listed about the classification of Constitution of fundamental rights or meaning of fundamental rights, and what are the classifications are determined by the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution, salient features of fundamental rights in Indian Constitution, and the importance of fundamental rights in Indian Constitution. All these things today I will narrate in a nutshell manner skeleton I will put forth you in the online classes. Before that, let me precisely explain what is rights. Because rights is a legal entitlement. It is a basic necessary one. Suppose I say that anyone of you want to enjoy the rights, they need some type of legal entitlement. Merely words I may say that right is applicable to all. How it is possible? Unless otherwise it is not available in etymological evidence, descriptive or normative manner, we cannot able to enjoy the right. So right means morally through convention or claiming or recognizing few other way, we are all making as a entitlement, legal entitlement. Then only it become as a right. So, mere words we can talk, but it won't become as a right. So that's why any rights legally, officially exercised by the constitutional rules and regulations or provisions, then only it become as a rights. So right, we have exercised over the period mere moral activity or conventional activity or by demand, by claim, we are all enjoying the rights in the state. So there are yes, I have explained the definition of rights. According to laws, rights are very essential in the social life, without which no man can seek fulfill his life in a best manner. So that is the idea. That means everyone, all the people have a right to enjoy in the state, because right provide a basic skill and a basic moral and spiritual high-fi thinking activities are developed by rights determined by the constitution. That's why like a THB, Benny Prasad, all the thinkers holistically they used to say that rights are part and parcel of human being. It is making a better development of personality to the human being. So rights are usually used. Look about rights. Usually it is used as a claim rights. We can claim demand of right. For example, we are all nowadays enjoying the right to equality, because previously ill treatments are there. There was no equality. That's why inequality was prevailed in those days. That's why people are demanding. We need equality. You can claim that. For example, you are going or riding the bike. Suppose suddenly police will stop you. Stop. Where is your license? They will ask you. You will claim. You can prove that you are having your driving license. You are claim that I have a right to drive the car or bike with the certain claim rights. So you can claim that minority, majority, where ill treatments are there, you claim as a minority. I am also have to take part along with the majority. So you are demanding that I have a right to freedom to express. Likewise, you can claim yourself that I am eligible to attain the certain rights. Liberty rights. It is also used in another way. This is an entitlement which authorities or a person to do as he pleases. Suppose he can request to the others. You have a liberty. Suppose I have a liberty means I cannot bulldoze or I cannot do a disturbance to the others. So for example, any one of the person is smoking is prohibited. Suppose unless otherwise a person want to disturb the others. I have a liberty. Suppose if I am having the liberty means I cannot swing my hand to disturb the others. I should not hit the others' face. Such a manner we have a liberty to curtail or we have some restraint to follow ourselves in a certain freedom manner. That's why it is a liberty right. Another one is the rights are used in a power rights. This is one where the people have power to exercise. For example, the right to vote. So the people are given the power to exercise their right. So that's why in election time, individuals or peoples are those who are eligible to exercise their franchise. They are going to the election booths. They have a power to decide the government, to elect the representative. Such a manner, the power has been provided as a certain power rights are available to the individuals and groups and human beings. And the next one is the immunity rights. Rights also used as immunity one. Nowadays, you might know about people are talking about the COVID-19, where for say living or better lives, where you have to improve your immunity, because then only you have to face against COVID-19. Because now physically you are all sound, you can easily throw out the COVID-19. Likewise, when the rights are suppose misused against any human beings, where he can seek a immunity. This is the protection rights available to the person to protect himself from the power of the others. Example, applying for an arbitrary bail from getting arrested a person. The example is constitutional remedies, because any one of the person, suppose he is going to be arrested, before that he can seek a bail approaching to the court. So he himself safeguarding right from the others' activity. So that is called as immunity right. So these are all the certain way we are all using the rights. We can claim it is my right, or we have a freedom to enjoy the right, and we are all having a power to enjoy our right, and also we can seek our immunity. We can safeguard from misuse of the rights. So these are all the way we are all using the rights. Apart from that, there are number of the classifications are available in the or types of rights: moral rights, natural rights, legal rights, civil rights, social rights including cultural, religious rights, political, economic, contractual rights. Certain period you can maintain a contract, and that period only you can enjoy the rights, and the human rights, so on and so forth. Likewise, there are types of rights are available. Now we move on to the what are fundamental rights. So far we have seen that what is the right stands for, how it is used in the society by claiming or immunity or power or a certain way we can enjoy. But now we move on to the fundamental rights. What are fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are basically very important rights of human beings. It is created for well-being of individual or groups who are living in the state with the help of constitution. Unless otherwise we are not having a constitution, we cannot enjoy our fundamental rights. I will explain to you later the genesis or evolution of fundamental rights in India. It is not an new one. It is a earlier one. Over the period we have struggled to establish our fundamental rights in India. Anyhow, the meaning of fundamental right is it provides the individual to develop their skill. Without fundamental rights, you cannot develop your skill and moral and spiritual aspect in the life of the state. So that's why the fundamental rights is a basic rudimentary rights to the human beings. Fundamental rights are equated to the human rights. Quite often I used to say that wherever I go, I used to explain or enunciate the idea that fundamental rights are equated to the human rights. If you are enjoying properly the fundamental rights, there is no any question of or violation of human rights, because fundamental rights already provided all sort of benefits and the rights to be enjoyed by the human beings. Mere constitution or through constitution, the fundamental rights are available to the citizen. Whatever is the freedom of expression or equality or expression or participation, cultural minority rights, everything is clearly explained in the fundamental rights. Mere people are not having the more political awareness or not having a awareness about the fundamental rights. That's why there is a more violations of taking place in the name of human rights. Next, we will move on to the genesis of fundamental rights or evolution of fundamental rights in India. If you look about the fundamental rights in India, origin and development or evolution of fundamental rights in India, usually we are all having a more Western impact. Western impact played a significant role for the development of fundamental rights in Indian Constitution. Especially, you would also know about because Western influence, British colonial power, they ruled the entire world. Because there are thinkers or national movement leaders, they have worked for, they have taken ideas from the Western political ideologies or theories and concepts. Magna Carta in 1215, where that in England, Magna Carta played a significant role for the establishment of the rights. The government and the king, where they have maintained equality along with each other. That was a major development in the international level in the world order. So the Magna Carta is a greater charter that given a more importance, or first time given a more importance between the people and king. So that's why it played a significant role. Then in the year of 1688, Glorious Revolution, that was called as a silent revolution, without any bloodshed, without any massive manhandling or any riot or aggression, peacefully where the people have demanded for their civil rights. That is called as a glorious revolution. There are England thinkers, philosophers, they worked for the significance of civil rights. So that's why they have demanded in England, we need a civil rights. So that's why that is called as a glorious revolution. Based on the glorious revolution, England Bill of Rights, that is called as a Bill of Rights, 1688. They have established a civil rights in the year of 1689. Thereafter, a social contract theory, Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau played a significant role in the social contract theory. They only explain the natural rights, political rights, and the civil rights in a detailed manner. That's why the general will social contract theory became as a more popular. We ourselves realized the significance of rights. Rationally, we have our own contract without disturbing the economic, social, political rights, without any distinction or demarcation. What should be realized? That has been clearly explained by the social contract theory, especially Rousseau, general will, and Locke, two treatises on civil government, has clearly explained what are the rights to be followed by the people. Thereafter, the French Revolution, the year of 1789. French Revolution was a first revolution where it has given more importance to the liberty, equality, and fraternity. So thereafter, people realized the significance of the French Revolution. It played an impact and it given a more impact to the world level. Then United States of Bill of Rights in 1791. In America, where in the year of 1776, the first war of American independence took place against the British government, or that means British colonial power, they demanded we need a separate constitution and we need our own Bill of Rights. So that's why in the year of 1791, they have ratified their Bill of Rights, where thereafter their constitution came into force. This is a nutshell. I think maybe based on that idea, maybe First World War, Second World War also played a significant role in the impact of creating the fundamental rights in all over the world. In India also, we have followed the Western ideologies as well as our evolutionary based, our Indian fundamental rights developments are taken place also. That will be, I will discuss after the 3 minutes break. We will resume after 2 minutes because it's a technical idea. After 5 minutes, the session will resume. Then after 1 hour also, we will continue. We will interact more. I will explain more on the fundamental rights. Please stay on. Thank you.
Good morning, delegates. Kindly, we will resume the meeting after a pause of 30 seconds or 1 minute because 40 minutes is going to complete and stay with us. And one important instruction is kindly type your name while you are entering into Zoom app because most of the participants they have typed the mobile number or some numerical number. Kindly type your name as officially registered in the online course. Okay, just stay online and again we will connect you. Same user ID, same password, don't worry. I need to go to that. Another put one bridge. Why another?
And of fundamental rights. We drafted our constitution not near an easy manner or enacted constitution. It is evolved and enacted constitution. There are many more people have involved for the creation of fundamental rights under our Indian constitution. For establishment of fundamental rights, we can trace back in Indian history from 19th century onwards. Even already I told you when the Queen Proclamation Act came into existed in India in the year of 1858, where that time centralization of power was prevailed in those days, where Queen has all sort of power in her hand. Only few Governor Generals saw that. Thereafter, I think maybe you are all knowing about. There are over the period regulating acts in the Minto Marley, Montesquieu's Code and Government of India Act 1935 played a significant role. Apart from that, in Indian evolution or evolution of fundamental rights in India, it is started in the year of 1885. You are all knowing that the Indian National Congress came into force. So when they formulated their Congress Association or Freedom Movement, they have demanded, they wanted the same rights what the English people or British peoples or Englishmen enjoyed, the same equal rights or requested or demanded by our Indian National Congress. So that was a first, not first, but they have given a seeking support to establish the fundamental rights. Perhaps the first explicit demand of fundamental rights appeared in the Swaraj Bill. Even that is also in the Article 16 of the Swaraj Bill 1895. It was created by Lokmanya Tilak. He was a person who inspired to create a fundamental rights. He visualized that Constitution should guarantee every citizen and his rights as a basic of maybe they are allowed to express their what they thought freedom to express in the society, or right to property or equality before the law was exercised by Lokmanya Tilak in the 1895. That was a first time in explicit or maybe in a clear cut. It's an open manner. Everybody knows that that was a first demand of fundamental rights in India, mere etymological evidence in a descriptive manner. Then there was series of that Congress sessions where they demanded fundamental rights. Congress also, each and every Congress session they have demanded, especially in the 1917 and 19, the repeated demand for civil rights and equality of status with the Englishman. So these are all the major influence where we can able to brought down the fundamental rights in India. So in a Congress session in the year of 1917 and 19, they reiterated and quite often they requested to the British government, we need a fundamental rights. We need a civil rights like other Englishmen, other British peoples are enjoying. Such a manner we need a basic fundamental rights in India. That was a demand was made by the Congress sessions. You are all aware of that. Annie Besant, she was head of a Home Rule movement. She has demanded fundamental rights in India. She was a person one who acted as an atheist in India in her Home Rule movement. She demanded that India need a separate fundamental rights because Irish Constitution in the year of 1921 they established a fundamental right. Similar manner, India also we need a fundamental rights in India. So that was a major demand, major claim was made by Annie Besant in the India Bill. That was generated by Annie Besant. That is another milestone in the demand of fundamental rights in India. Another one is the 1927 Congress Party passed a resolution in Madras. In Madras also where they have declared that they passed a resolution at Madras Congress session which declared that the basis of future of Constitution must be declared a fundamental right. So in the Madras session also they demanded we need a separate fundamental rights for the Indian people. So based on that Annie Besant recommendations and she has equated with the Irish Constitution of 1921. So that played a significant role in the year of 1927 where Madras Congress session also they demanded we need a fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. The another development, origin and development of fundamental rights in India is in the year of 1931. The Congress session held at Karachi adopted resolution of fundamental rights and which has given a more social change. Why it has come 1931 became as a major means in the year of 1928 even many times even the 1928 played a significant role. The Motilal Nehru Committee observed that like Ireland, India also need a separate constitution or separate fundamental right. That's why 1928 Congress session played a significant role in the milestone of Indian history because they demanded Constitutional Assembly and also they want to make a fundamental rights like other countries or like Ireland is enjoying the similar status to be needed to India. That was recommended by Motilal Nehru Committee in the 1928. So that 1928 impact of Congress section has been followed in March 1931 Congress session that held at Karachi. In a Karachi session also Congress demanded and they made a resolution we need a fundamental rights that will create a lot of social change and humanitarian background. It is a part and parcel of human beings. So it is an essential one like that they have demanded. So another milestone development in the fundamental right is SAPRU report. It is came into force in the year of 1945. SAPRU played a significant role in the development of the fundamental rights in India, because before the pre-assembly session, Constituent Assembly, where he was the only person who given a separate identity for the fundamental rights. He is an intellectual member group. That's why he is a non-party committee of intellectual group, 1944 to 1945. Bahadur SAPRU was a chairman. He reiterated and he reiterated that the demand of fundamental rights in India. So that's why these are all the major origin and development of fundamental rights. So there are many more people they have worked for. They demand that we need a separate fundamental rights in India. So that's why you are all knowing about that SAPRU played a significant role. SAPRU report has played a significant role for the justifiable rights and non-justifiable rights. Later we are all followed in the Indian Constitution. When we are enshrined our fundamental rights, we are all having a justifiable rights and non-justifiable rights in the fundamental rights of Indian Constitution. That was determined by SAPRU. That's why even after independence, our Constitution Assembly also we have followed. The main role was played by SAPRU. So these are all the major development of the fundamental rights in India. So Constituent Assembly, you are all knowing that Rajendra Prasad was a president of Constituent Assembly. There are members are there where they have worked for a central government rules and regulations, state government rules and regulations. Likewise, where you are all knowing about where there are people worked for the creation of fundamental rights. Vallabhbhai Patel was an advisory committee on fundamental rights in the Constituent Assembly that we are all aware of about. But when we are drafted our constitution, we have followed the US model of fundamental rights in India, because the freedom of charter started in American Constitution, where they have given more importance to the fundamental rights. So we are also followed the model of US model of fundamental rights in India. So that's why that J.P. Kripalani worked as a fundamental rights committee subcommittee. J.P. Kripalani worked as a fundamental rights subcommittee. Vallabhbhai Patel as an advisory committee on fundamental rights. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar acted as a chairman of drafting committee. So holistically, there are a number of the people who worked for the fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. So we all know that Indian Constitution came into force on January 26, 1915. The fundamental rights also exercised from 1950 onwards in India. So it discussed part 3rd of the Indian Constitution, especially from Article 12 to 35. So we have drawn from the US Constitution, and with the help of Constituent Assembly we have inserted a fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. Whenever we want to suspend the fundamental rights, we have drawn that idea from the Germany Constitution. So these are all the major idea where we have borrowed the fundamental rights in India. So now we will move on to the salient features of fundamental rights. So fundamental rights having a certain salient features. Number one is it is an integral part of the Constitution. Fundamental rights is integral part of the Constitution. It is a part and parcel of the Constitution. Any law or any rights are to be created, that should be adhere the law related to the fundamental rights. So that's why the fundamental rights is a part like a preamble. Whenever we are interpreting or making any law, we have to interpret the preamble. Likewise, whenever we are making to any rights related to the human being, that should be a part and parcel of fundamental rights. If anything against the fundamental rights, it will be null and void, where it will be considered as a derogatory, it will not be treated as a fundamental right. That's why number one feature is it is an integral part of the Constitution. Second one is it's a most comprehensive and detailed. It has been clearly explained what are all the rights are available to the human beings. All these things are clearly enlisted by the Constitution. It has both negative as well as positive rights. Positive rights means already what we are all enjoying as a freedom, right to equality. These are all considered as a positive rights. Negative rights means where we are all having a removal of untouchability or certain rights are curtailed. That is called as a. But even though they will enjoy apart from the positive rights, that is negative rights. Then all rights are justifiable in nature. Suspension of rights, even all these things I will explain to you a detailed manner in next slide. So citizen alone can enjoy the fundamental rights. So it is meant for the citizen of India, not for the aliens. So that's why already I told you citizen means a person, one who enjoys the both civil and political rights. India where the citizen can be able to enjoy all the civil and political rights. So non-natural or unenumerated rights and fundamental rights are amendable in nature. They can do amendment. So these are all the salient features. Now we can look about the details of fundamental rights, the features of fundamental rights in detailed manner. So fundamental rights available only to the citizen. Already I have told you. So it is available to the citizens, where slaves and aliens are cannot be able to enjoy, but we are not having. But our Citizenship Act, part 2 is dealing about citizenship. I think Article 5 to 11 is clearly explained. What is the role of citizen, how the citizenship occurred, all these things are clearly explained in the citizenship or Article 5 to 11. Now fundamental rights are available only to the citizens, and also it has its own reasonable restriction. Fundamental rights are having a reasonable restrictions. Fundamental rights are not absolute rights, they are having a reasonable restriction. That means whenever state security breached or public morality disturbed, or there are any kind of disturbances are taking place in the state order, where that time they can have some reasonable restriction. For example, in COVID-19 we cannot able to express certain rights, even we are enjoying, but we cannot. So such a manner it have its own kind of reasonable restriction and also restraint. It has some volatile and vicious level of way we can enjoy the rights. The fundamental rights are justifiable in nature. In the salient feature already I told you, even Sapru played a significant role for distinguishing the fundamental rights should be justifiable and non-justifiable. But if you look about the fundamental rights are justifiable in nature, implying that it is an enforceable by court. People can directly approach the Supreme Court. They can move to the court whenever their fundamental rights are violated. So that is possible. That is applicable in the fundamental rights. That's why it is justifiable. We can interpret with the help of court. Next feature is fundamental rights are slightly different from the other legal rights, because there are small demarcation, little bit differences are there, not a vast difference between the fundamental rights and legal rights. Because whenever legal rights, based on the fundamental rights, whenever legal rights are there, any violations are taken place, they cannot straight away move to the Supreme Court via their own procedural hierarchical way, where from lower court, then high court, Supreme Court. Such a manner they have to go to the court. So that's why that is a small difference between the legal rights and the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights can be amendable in nature. They can do amend, but it should not violate the basic features of the fundamental rights in India, or it should not violate the preamble of Indian Constitution. So that's why even many other acts are created, right to education or right to privacy act. These are all part and parcel of fundamental rights. So likewise, fundamental rights can be amended by the Parliament by constitutional amendment, but it does not change or alter the basic structure of the Constitution. That's why it becomes a subclass or subarticles. Fundamental rights can be suspended during a national emergency, but the rights guaranteed under Article 20 and 21 cannot be suspended, because that you are all aware of that one, that certain time where you cannot cancel or suspend all the fundamental rights. So that's why the application of fundamental rights can be restricted in area which has been placed under a martial or military rule. Suppose election has come into force, where that time they used to say about martial or military rule, that time where they cannot be able to enjoy the certain rights. So that's why fundamental rights are become as a more important one. They have given a basic fundamental idea by the Constitution. So why they are called as a fundamental right? So far we are discussing so many ideas. Rights are available to the common people. Everybody have a right to enjoy. There are right to equality, freedom, so on and so forth. So what is fundamental rights? Why it is called as a fundamental rights? It is a rudimentary rights. It is called as a basic rights because there are two reasons. It is that means fundamental rights are enshrined and guaranteed by the Constitution. Unless otherwise it is not guaranteed by the Constitution, it is not called as a fundamental rights. Another one is basically it can be interferable by the court. That means it is, or that means fundamental rights, they are justifiable in nature, enforceable by the court. So citizen can approach the courts for the interpretation. So that's why it is called as a fundamental rights. How many fundamental rights are recommended by the Indian Constitution? That is, I think maybe you are all aware of that. It is etymological evidence, everybody knows about. It is not new to you. But even though it is the students, those who are learning from online courses, they have to know about. Initially, fundamental rights are classified as a 7 in India. Later, right to property was removed by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act in the year of 1978. 44th Amendment Act has played a significant role. That's why right to property has been removed in our fundamental rights. At present, we are having 6 fundamental rights. So that's why we are having a directive principles of state policy, where the right to property has been used in a different manner, in a socialistic perspective, in a directive principle of state policy. So there are 6 fundamental rights are there in India, or nowadays we are enjoying. I think you are all knowing about right to equality. Article 14 to 18 deals about the right to equality, and right to freedom. Article 19 to 22 deals about the right to freedom, right against exploitation. Article 23 to 24. Then right to freedom of religion. Article 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights. Articles 29 to 30, and right to constitutional remedies. Article 32 to 35. So these are all 6 fundamental rights. I think you are all. Let me briefly I will explain to you. Right to equality, all are equal before the Constitution. I think whatever may be the without color, race, religion, all the people are. I think later the separate theme wise, all the 6 fundamental rights are discussed in a forthcoming class in a detailed manner. Even though nutshell, some skeleton manner I will explain to you. So right to equality, where all the people are equally treated before the Constitution. So right to freedom of expression, speech, and right to move peacefully or taking a possession, all these things are allowed from Article 19 to 22. Right against exploitation or child labor or bonded labor, that could be prohibited. Right to freedom of religion. Article 25 to 28 deals about the freedom of religion. Constitution has given a clear-cut picture about what are the way the religious freedom to be enjoyed in India. So cultural and educational rights, where minorities institution, what is to be, how can they acquire the aid, and how can they start the educational institution. These are all given a clear picture in the cultural and educational rights. And right to constitutional remedies. Article 32 to the 35, that played a significant role in the fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. Many people used to ask about, even my students used to, even my colleagues also used to ask about why Ambedkar is called as a father of Indian Constitution. There are a number of the peoples are worked. Rajendra Prasad and other members are in the committee. Vallabhbhai Patel, Nehru, Munshi, and Kirpalani. They are all worked in the Constitution Assembly. Why they are not treated as a father of Indian Constitution? Why Ambedkar is called as a father of Indian Constitution? They have asked their questions that we used to discuss about. Why he has called? Because you might have known about the constitutional remedies was enforced by the Dr. Ambedkar. He was a person who say clearly that whenever laws or rights are wrongly infringed against the human beings, or all the fundamental rights are misused against the human being, how they can safeguard the fundamental rights. So that's why he only given about the 5 writs: habeas corpus, mandamus, quaranto, prohibition, and certiorari. These are all 5 writ petitions played a significant role for the Indian Constitution. That's why he was called as a father of Indian Constitution. So next, I think you would know about the importance of fundamental rights. It plays a significant role because fundamental rights and human rights are complementary with each other. It is available to the citizens, and not only that, it is always important one to the human beings. It is the backbone of the country. Fundamental rights are, I think, maybe equated, or it's a complementary with each other. Fundamental rights are safeguarding the people interest. So that's why it is a part and parcel, essential to the human beings. So these are all now I have given about what is rights, the recognized rights, immunity rights, claim rights, and we can how the fundamental rights are played a significant role along with the immunity rights, claim right, and power right, liberty rights. And I correlated along with the Indian Constitution origin and the development of fundamental rights and salient features of the Indian Constitution. And I have concluded thank you to one and all for the given me opportunity. So students, I think you are all maybe convinced. I think I have given a little bit skeleton. The etymological evidence, more ideas are available in Indian Constitution. I can add a more flesh and blood related to the Indian Constitution. I think for up to my level, I have convinced you. Thanks to one and all. Any clarification, doubt, you can ask a question. Up to my level, I will explain to you.
The hand is
Sevenation, please unmute Parmar, Anjana Parmar. Yes, Anjana Parmar, please.
Good morning, madam. Yes, Anjana Parmar, yes. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Yes, already I told you, right to privacy become as a part and parcel of the Constitution and the fundamental rights. Nowadays it is treated because people used to claim that we are having a certain basic rights, maybe right to privacy, maybe even it should be essential to the human beings. But I think maybe, yes, madam. Yes, madam, that's why it is a debate and a discoverable one. Even if you write to privacy under Article 21, which requires right to life and personality cannot be revealed to the other people. But Constitution says that where it could be given or shared to the others. Sometimes even you have mentioned that whenever we are sharing our personal lives, maybe our privacy may be ventilated to the others. So that's why Constitution and government, even they used to argue about in the debate whenever it is necessary, where sometimes even we can share our, because whoever may be misuse of rules and regulation or doing a violation against the Constitution. But they up to certain limits, they have mentioned that right to privacy has to be the personal life or personal liberty. But whenever the state is required, they have to be procure or they have to maintain in a curtailed manner. That is an idea also they used to say about. So that is my view, madam. Okay. Thank you. Yes, madam. Positive rights and negative rights, madam. Yes. Because Article 18 shows that, I think maybe you don't know about that, state not confer any special titles on the citizens. Or similarly, Article 17, abolition of untouchability. So these are all negative rights. Even though where we cannot use it as in the name of caste and religion or any caste title should not be established. So these are all negative rights. That's why I have explained to you. Positive rights means, example, right to equality, liberty and freedom of expression. These are all the positive. Already we are enjoying. Even though why you are using cassette or maybe or any kind of religious based entitlement, it should not be allowed. So this is a negative right. Likewise, they have distinguished. That is also one of the features of fundamental rights.
Thank you,
madam.
Ganesh.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Ganesh.
Hello, Ganesh Prabhu. Yes, please. Yes, Ganesh. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Next question.
Unenumerated rights, because already I told you because we have created our fundamental rights with the model of American Constitution. Because Because it's a no natural or unenumerated. You cannot enumerate new one. Already what it is enshrined by the constitution, you cannot say that, because that's why constitution and fundamental rights initially they have mentioned clearly. You cannot mingle the natural rights along with the fundamental rights. Every time you can say that my nature has demanding. Likewise, you cannot put forth, or you can furthermore you cannot seek to the government or constitution. So that's why that no natural or unenumerated. So that's why we are all followed, because the 19th Amendment of the American Constitution clearly exercised that rights cannot be denied in the name of natural rights. Understood? So no one cannot be seeking a furthermore explanation. So that's why that is a restriction. Furthermore, you cannot enumerate it. So furthermore, you cannot enumerate it on the name of natural rights. So or no natural rights or unenumerated. Furthermore, you cannot numerate. More numerical based, you cannot suppose 6 means 6. That's all. Subdivision you can make it if it is viable, or Parliament amended. If it is not against the Constitution, they can make it. Understand? So such a manner, yes. So that is there. For example, now only one country is enjoying the unwritten constitution is England. England is not having a written constitution. The reason is because already I told you, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights and right to petition. All these things are played a significant role to follow by the people. For example, every day for brushing your teeth, your parents are not teaching you. Initially, childhood time, they will taught you how to brush your teeth. Later days, mere experience. So likewise, there are people used to decent manner. They use already laws are there, rights are there. So they used to enjoy without having any kind of written document. They themselves, through convention, custom and convention, they used to follow through the rights in a amicable manner. Okay, man. Okay, thank you.
Dear participants,
Okay, thank you, friends. Thanks to one and all. Now session is handed over to the Balamurugan.
dear participants, thanks for your passion hearing. And I acknowledge and especially thank the resource person Dr. J. Subramanian sir on behalf of the Department of Political Science for his thoughts on fundamental rights in Indian Constitution. So thank you once again, and we will meet you again tomorrow at the same time. I request you to be online at around at least 5 minutes before the scheduled time. Thank you and all. Thank you.
Thanks.
பரவாயில்ல, நடுவில் பிரேக்கில் அப்போ கொஞ்சம் டென்ஷன் ஆச்சு, பட் அதர்வைஸ் ஓகே.
பரவாயில்லையா? போமா?
So,
தேங்க்யூ. எல்லாம் உங்கள் ஹெல்ப் தான், நமக்கு என்ன இது?
ஒன்று பின்னாடி அப்பப்போ ஊருக்கு கிடப்பாங்க பார். இன்னும் வந்து ஒரு 50 பேர் 60 பேர் அனுப்பி கொடுங்க பாருங்க.
ஆமாம் சார், அதுதான் சார் பிரச்சனை.
ஏதோ ஒரு லேக் இல்லாமல் அப்படியே போயிடுச்சாமா?